All right, guys, what's happening? What's happening? Happy Tuesday to you. It feels like Monday, but it's actually Tuesday. It is Tuesday, September 7th, 2021. This morning, we're going to talk about giving. We're going to talk about why giving back in your community, why giving back in general is so important, and what it will do for you, what it does for the organizations that you can partner with or donate to, and just the impact that that makes all the way around. Let's get started.
It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life, and then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if that lines up.
All right, guys, what's happening? Happy Tuesday to you. I hope you guys are having an awesome day, man. Sorry, I'm a few minutes behind here. It was absolutely crazy traffic this morning on the way to the office, and I don't live very far from here. So that is a sign that school is back in session, kids, and the traffic patterns are still adjusting, or people are still adjusting to what time they're leaving. I don't know. It was just a mess, man. I had to take all kinds of back roads to get here. So needless to say, now I'm here, and I'm excited to talk to you guys this morning about why giving back in your community is so important. You know, one of the things that I take great pride in is looking for those places where I can help, or where our team can help, or where our groups can help. You know, Top Contractor School, Inner Circle, as some of you guys saw yesterday, many of you were on the live stream. We did about a 2.5-hour live stream to raise money for an organization that supports short-term missions around the world. And we have a unique opportunity there to raise $150,000, and that will actually permanently fund this business, this nonprofit. And so when I got that opportunity presented to us, as I started to hear about it, I was like, man, this is an opportunity like no other. And so that's why we got behind that opportunity. And we'll talk more about that before this episode is over here. But I really wanted to talk about why giving back is so important, you know. And one of the things that I've learned, you know, because this hasn't always been something that was natural to me, you know, something that was, something that was an opportunity that came in front of me very often until, you know, just a handful of years ago, you know, and I started, being approached a little more frequently here and there by, you know, places that needed help. They either needed, you know, support from a service standpoint, or they needed financial support, or they needed donations. And you know, I started to get involved in those types of things. I started to get involved in supporting different organizations around the Pittsburgh area, involved in a couple of things with our church. And, you know, the reason that I wanted to talk about this morning was, you know, I know that this is not a normal thing for a lot of people, because it certainly wasn't for me most of my life. It wasn't something that I felt comfortable with. And one of the things that I didn't really always feel comfortable with was like, how much do I give? You know, like I always felt like I wasn't giving enough, or like whatever it was that I gave was just so small that maybe it was meaningless, or maybe it just wasn't enough, or maybe I was embarrassed, to give that amount of money. Right. And now that I'm kind of in a different position, and I'm involved with a lot of these organizations, and I look at, you know, what it takes to be able to raise money, what it takes to be able to run some of these organizations, like Standards of Excellence that we had on yesterday, like ALS One, who, you know, we had Jen DiMartino from ALS One out of Massachusetts on the Pavement Group podcast last week. If you guys haven't caught that episode, it's amazing. You'll get to know the real heart of nonprofits by listening to that episode. If you guys haven't checked that out, I'll drop the link in the comments here. Jen's just an amazing person, and all of the people, Brian Heerwagen, who's, you know, the head of Standards of Excellence, just incredible people. And as I've gotten closer to these nonprofits, you know, I've come to learn how important every single dollar is, and how important every ounce of support, not just financial support, but any way that you can support. And, I said it yesterday several times on the live stream, and we had it scrolling across the bottom. But if you're in the situation where, serving a nonprofit is better for you in this particular moment than donating to it, right? Then share the stream, tell somebody about it, recommend that somebody check out that episode, recommend that somebody check out their website. There's a million different ways that we can support these organizations. But as I've gotten closer to, the true heart of these organizations, as I'll describe it, I've come to realize how important the support is, because these people who run these organizations many times feel like they're on an island, and they are fighting such an incredible and such a noble fight to help people, to serve people. And they really struggle doing it. And what I learned through this interaction with Standards of Excellence, and what led us as a group at Top Contractor School, the Top Contractor School Inner Circle, what led us to make the decision to take on this task of raising $150,000 for this organization was the declining donations from, people in general. And so statistics are showing that nonprofits are actually being donated to much less year over year, every single year. And so, and I know why that is, it's some of it's a generational thing, but I also think that, some of it is that people have become nervous about donating to nonprofits because some of them have been, kind of put in the press for doing the wrong things with the money, or people are, looking at how they use the money. And they're not okay with that, right? They're not okay with a CEO of one of those companies making a certain amount of money or whatever it may be. So that makes people hesitant to donate. And I understand that, and I relate to it. But what I wanted to get through this morning to you guys is a couple of things. Number one, the need for people to help is so significant. The need for people to get behind these organizations is so significant. And I think that, for all of us, we are out there, living our everyday lives, doing whatever it is that we do. And, sometimes we don't think about, the need for serving and the need for giving. And I just want to share with you guys my experience of, being part of, a few of these organizations, being close to a couple of, specific fundraising things that have led to, events or whatever it may be. And I want to encourage you guys to engage in something that's bigger than yourself, to go out there and find an organization that you can get behind, find a group of people that you can connect to and donate to. Number one, because they need the help. But equally as important, I want you guys to have that feeling of what it feels like to accomplish something, and know that in some way you have impacted people that will never meet you, possibly. And as we were thinking about, what to do with the fundraiser that we did yesterday, and this is the same conversation I've had with several other scenarios that I've been involved with or donated money to, it's an indescribable feeling when you see whatever that is that you're donating to in operation, when you're knowing that you made an impact in some way, shape, or form in helping that organization do whatever it is that they do. There's no feeling that compares to it. It's such an incredible feeling. And, yesterday I was walking out of my house and I came here to the office to do the live stream. And, my kid said, "Daddy, I thought you didn't have to work today. Where are you going?" And, I sat down and explained to them that I was coming to the office to, do a live stream, and we were going to raise some money, and that we had, signed on for helping this organization fund a software platform that ultimately will fund their organization indefinitely, right? If we can get to this $150,000 goal, when we get to this $150,000 goal, that organization will live on forever. And then I explained to them what that organization does around the world and the impact that it makes on children specifically, because I knew that would be relatable to them. And their faces lit up and said, "Daddy, what can we do to help?" And, in that moment, you realize just how precious these things are that we get the opportunity to do. And, there's so many things. As I was thinking yesterday, I was like, man, how many things in a month do I spend money on that I don't necessarily need to spend money on? Maybe that money could be allocated somewhere else. Maybe I could give that money to an organization that needs it far more than whatever it is that I'm purchasing with it. And, I share that with you guys because, again, number one, there's a massive need for people like you guys, like us, that will support these organizations. And I'm not here to tell you what to support or how to support or how much to give or anything like that. I'm just telling you, to reach out, to start thinking in that direction, because when you weave one of these things into your life, when you weave one of these organizations or multiple organizations into your life, it actually makes your life better in more ways than what I could describe. And when you think about the impact that you're able to have, when I think about the ripple effect is what I called it yesterday on the live stream. But when I think about these people who, will be able to go around the world and do mission trips better, more efficiently, more prepared with training, all these things because of the money that we are raising. And we raised $35,000 in just a couple of hours yesterday. When I think about that, it honestly trumps almost everything else in my life, right? Like when you think about the impact that we're able to have by helping people, by just using the talents that God gave us to help. And there's many ways, as I've already described. You can, if you're a person that has the financial resources to help, you can help by donating your money. If that's your talent, if you can make money and you have extra money that you can give, you can do that. If that's not the case and you want to donate your time, you can do that. If you have a talent that you can donate the resources for, maybe you're a baker and you can bake cookies and sell them. But whatever it is that you can do, whatever gift you've been given, please, I beg you to use that gift. And I beg you to use that gift, not for me, but for yourself and for those organizations out there that need you. Now, I will tell you that you should research the organizations that you're supporting, and you should feel connected to the cause that you're supporting, because that will keep the engine going, right? But when you can make an impact, and when on the other side of that donation or that service or that time that you are able to spend, time spent or money donated, that you were able to do, I promise you this: when you look back and you see what happens as a result of that donation, when you look at or you see, something on social media that organization is doing, and you think to yourself, like, in some way I had a small part in that. And you see the smile on a child's face that probably doesn't get to smile very often. Or, you get to see people, in one case, I got to see children going to an event at our church that I was a part of. And the feeling is indescribable. And it's a feeling that everybody deserves to feel in their life, and I know that every human being has that servant heart in them, built in. And sometimes we just get so busy. And sometimes we feel like, man, this is a lot of work to figure out what it is that I want to, that I want to support. But when you see the smile on those children's faces, or you see Eddie Brown, who tunes in here almost every single morning. Eddie has a nonprofit in Virginia that supports single mothers. when you see the photos of these mothers, getting a car, that need a car just to get to work, to support their family, I promise you, you will become addicted to that feeling, and you will become addicted to finding ways to help, to finding ways to pay it forward, to doing those things that really just make an impact on other people. Years ago, I learned a tip from somebody it was part of a group on social media that started doing something called Wealth Wednesdays. And this group would just take some money, $20 bill, $50 bill, $100 bill, whatever it is that you could spare. And they would go into a grocery store or, Target or anywhere, and they would go into the baby section where the diapers were. And they would take that $100 bill, they would fold it up, and they would tuck it down in a box of formula or a box of diapers. And they would put a note in there that said, just wanted you to know that somebody loves you and God bless you, and whatever it is that you want to write on the note. And so I started doing that years ago. I started going into the grocery store, when I had time on my lunch break or whatever. And that concept of being able to do something for someone that will never, and you don't sign your name, you don't let them know who it is, but you just tuck it in that box of diapers, or you tuck it in that box of formula. And every Wednesday for a long time, I was able to, bless somebody that I never met and that'll never meet me. And I just have to think that as we sow those seeds into the world, as we go out there and we help those people who will never know who it is that helped them, that we make the world a better place. And I would say the same is true for, being part of these opportunities, being part of these chances to give and support in any way that you can. And again, if it's not money, it doesn't matter. Maybe going online, sharing a post, explaining what the organization is about, and trying to help support that fundraising effort. Maybe that is your service. But whatever it is, I promise you this: play a role, get involved, and do something that pays it forward. Because every single morning when you wake up with breath in your lungs, man, you're being blessed. And every single morning that you wake up living in this country, living in the United States of America, we are all blessed to be here. And there are people around the world that are not as fortunate as us. That the very worst scenario in the United States is sometimes comparable to some of the best scenarios in other places around the world. And so for me, I want to be involved in those organizations that can help those kids and those families that are in scenarios both here in the United States and around the world. And I believe, for me, when I support the things, whether it be a church organization, that's a way to pay it forward to the world, right? So if we are investing into the youth here in our own community, that makes the world a better place down the road. And so that's why I choose the organizations that I choose to support. But I wanted to talk about this morning and just, tell you guys why it's important to do. And it's not, sure, it's for other people and we're helping other people, but I promise you, you will feel significantly better about yourself. It will change you if you are able to give. And one of the pieces of advice that I give people, I'm a little hesitant to do this when I'm actually raising money, because I feel like it's, I feel like you're asking and that's uncomfortable in the first place. But, when it comes down to it, the amount that you give should be slightly uncomfortable. And that's how you know you're giving enough. And when you do that, the amount that you find you're able to give, because of the impact that you were able to make, will continue to increase. And what you are willing to do will increase, and what you try to do and what you try to take on. And you never know what donation it might be that really changes the world. If you've ever been in that scenario where you needed some help, whether it was as a kid as a young adult, maybe you needed something from your parents, or maybe you needed something from a friend, and somebody came through for you. The Callaways talked yesterday on the live stream about a time when Mr. Callaway got burned pretty bad and he couldn't work. And out of nowhere, somebody paid their rent. They were, not in a good situation because he was the breadwinner in the family. They were not in a good situation, and somebody paid their rent for 2 months. And they were a young married couple at the time. And they talked about the impact of that. And so I share that with you guys because I know that there are always somebody out there. There's always somebody out there that needs help. There's always somebody out there that needs a hand. And if it's not an organization, maybe it's somebody in your life. Maybe it's, somebody that a friend of a friend, or somebody that you can do something for. But make it a point this week to take action on this. Get involved in something and, pay it forward. Use the blessings that we have in this country to make somebody else's life better. And I promise you'll be better for it. That's it for today, guys. If you found this episode to be helpful, I think that this is a message that a lot of people need to hear, especially in a time like this where everything's so stressful and everything's a little tense. Giving, man, makes all of those worries go away. Getting involved in something bigger than yourself, something that moves the world forward, moves children's lives forward, moves whatever it is that you are passionate about forward. I promise you'll feel better for it. So if you found this to be helpful, please share it out. If you're listening on podcast, please hit the share episode button and send it to somebody. That's how we build the audience on this show. It has continued to multiply, week over week over week. So I appreciate the help. You guys are doing an incredible job in sharing the show. I get messages from new people all the time that are finding the podcast, finding us over on YouTube, or tuning in here in the morning. So I appreciate all the help. You guys mean the world to me, showing up here every single morning. And I will see you guys again tomorrow morning, same place, same time, right here on Morning Perspective. Love you guys. Thanks for being here.